What is going on, YouTube? Bringing you a brand new video today. I hope you are doing well. TripleM back with another video. We are doing the Premier League recap. This is a show where I basically just give my opinions on the weekend's results, not focusing too much on X's and O's, i.e. tactics, but rather just a less serious banter style video. You know, it's all about the banter here, but we all love football and we don't all just watch one team. So, you know, that's kind of the point of this. I try to keep it as short as possible, so please do leave a like on the video if that's something you're interested in. But let's get into it. Liverpool winning 7-0 against Crystal Palace. The best analogy to describe how I feel about Liverpool fans for me is they're like an A student who's complaining about getting a B on a test, you know? Meanwhile, we're out here getting D's and F's, fam. Grades switching up more than Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's formations and tactics, fam. So it's as simple as that. I don't take Liverpool's problems very seriously. I understand that they're going through an injury crisis at the moment, but I said on this channel, right when Van Dijk got injured, I said Liverpool would get through this period with their injury crisis, and by the time Van Dijk and Gomez go back, they would have already established a lead at the top of the table, and they would have done enough to stay in the mix, and they've done more than enough. They're not just in the mix, they're at the top of the table. So for me, Liverpool are fine. Liverpool are chilling, man. Honestly, Liverpool are chilling, and I wouldn't be too worried if I was a Liverpool fan. It's not the end of the world that Van Dijk is out, as we've seen. And yeah, there's not really much to say. 7-0, scintillating performance, magnificent. Salah not starting was a huge red flag at the beginning of the game, but it didn't really matter because you guys piped them anyways. Crystal Palace, I feel sorry for them. I feel sorry for Crystal Palace, you know. They faced Liverpool on the wrong day, you know, and it is what it is. I don't really have any strong opinions about Crystal Palace. So moving on then to the Man City results, they won 1-0. And Man City is an interesting team to talk about because I feel like a lot of Man City fans or people who might not be Man City fans, but that's sort of kind of like one of their favorite teams to watch because of how they play, get very offended when you talk about the fact that they've regressed under Pep Guardiola. And it's not an insult. It's just facts. Man City are not the team they once was. They're not as good as they were when they won the back-to-back Premier League titles and nearly completed the quadruple in one of those seasons as well. They look very flat. They don't impose themselves on the game as much as you'd want them to. Now, that doesn't mean they don't dominate games and don't have loads of possession. It's what you do with that possession. And I think with Manchester City, the biggest problem is, yes, they are creating chances. Yes, they are holding the ball for periods of time and putting teams under the cosh. But they don't have a number 9 who can, you know, like surefire finish. Aguero has been having problems staying fit lately, and I don't think Jesus is the guy for the way Man City play. I think Man City needs someone who will take those chances and be in the right place at the right time more times than not. And I just don't think Jesus is that. I've said that almost every week on this particular show or in this particular style of video, that I don't think Jesus is the guy that you want at the helm if you're Manchester City, especially against a big team. Now, Southampton have been playing well, right? Southampton have been holding their own. And that scoreline can be very deceiving, you know, 1-0, because Man City did dominate that game. But I think Southampton are all right this season, so I wouldn't be too fussed about I wouldn't look too much into that 1-0 result, you know, as if there's any, you know, underlying messages or anything to take away from it. The Southampton are a decent side, and you didn't expect Manchester City to go there and completely play them out the park, you know. So it is what it is. Moving on, Arsenal losing 2-1 to Everton. In typical banter fashion, they went 1-0 behind because of a holding goal. They got a penalty at the other end and then just conceded anyways later on in the game. And Arsenal, first of all, why wasn't I've got so many questions. If there's any Arsenal fans watching, please enlighten me in the comments down below. I'm not even trying to banter y'all. I'm genuinely just asking, what is the thinking behind Nketiah playing in the middle? What is the thinking behind Willian all of a sudden, out of nowhere, out of the clear blue sky in high-end Premier League football? He wasn't doing well on the right, so we're going to switch him to the left because we all know that was the problem. Willian played on the left, Nketiah in the middle, and Pepe on the right. I don't get it. Maitland-Niles out of nowhere just came back into the team, you know, which I'm a fan of, by the way. I think Maitland-Niles should be playing ahead of Hector Bellerin, but still, Tierney playing out of position like Ceballos and Elneny is like a midfield two of Ceballos and Elneny. Makes absolutely no sense to me, especially when your front three doesn't have Aubameyang and somebody who, you know, you can rely on for that creativity to feed Aubameyang the chances, you know. And this, like, I don't know what's going on at Arsenal Football Club. I don't know what the thinking behind Mikel Arteta is at the moment, because his formations are very, very strange. For a person who is supposed to be the second coming of Pep, for a person who broke Klopp, for a person who broke Manchester City, for a person who's supposed to be this attacking style manager, who's supposed to be everything Mourinho isn't. Because remember, Arsenal fans didn't want Mourinho. Arsenal fans didn't want Allegri. Arsenal fans didn't want Simeone because he was too defensive. Well, you guys are very defensive at the moment, and I don't really know where you look as Arsenal fans. I genuinely thought Mikel Arteta was the right manager for Arsenal Football Club, simply because he understood the ethos and the culture of the club, and he'd be an integral part of the cultural rebuild, and he'd bring in players with the right mentality, and because of what he'd learned under Pep, he'd be able to instill some of that, maybe not on the same level, but at least to hover around that sort of top 6, top 7 period until he got his priority signings and, was a couple of seasons into his tenure at Arsenal. Hasn't worked out. Everything that's gone wrong for Arsenal, everything that could have gone wrong for Arsenal has gone wrong. And it just seems like Mikel Arteta's drowning to me at the moment. It seems like he's struggling to keep morale. He's not even on speaking terms with David Luiz. That says it all for me. The fact that Holding is one of your best defenders, barring Gabriel. Let's remove Gabriel from this conversation, because Gabriel was never going to fix Arsenal's defensive problems, right? Moving away from Gabriel because he's not enough to fix your defensive problems. You've only got Holding and David Luiz, really. It's sad. It's peak with Arsenal. I just don't think your defense is good enough, and I think it's been compounded by the fact that your manager is trying so hard to fix those problems. You guys look toothless against Everton going forward. You had nothing to offer. And it's ironic because Arsenal's strengths, in my opinion, are their attack and their midfield. That's where you guys have the most depth and the most players, But please, if there's any Arsenal fans watching, let me know. Before we move on to the rest of the other results of the weekend, do I think Arsenal's in a genuine relegation battle? Kind of. But I think Fulham, West Brom, Sheffield United are way too bad. I think Arsenal would really, really, really have to screw up to get relegated this season. And look, it's possible. I don't think any club is too big to go down, but I don't think Arsenal are there at the moment. I think we can revisit this conversation about Arsenal potentially getting relegated in February or January or late in January. But I don't know, and I feel like if push comes to shove, as bad as Arsenal owners are, they will sack Arteta. I don't think they care about this relationship with Arteta as much as people think they do. I don't think they care as much about this vision for the future as much as people think they do. I think it's just a PR stunt by Arsenal's board. But that's just my opinion. Arsenal fans, you have every right to challenge me in the comments down below. If there are any watching, please, I would like to hear your thoughts. Moving on to the West Brom game, actually. I'll get to United's game in a minute because I did a whole reaction to that, so I'm not going to spend a lot of time on it. But the West Brom game, they lost 3-0 to Villa. Now, I didn't watch that game, but I thought Big Sam coming to West Brom was going to give them a new manager bounce, I think it's a bit harsh that West Brom sacked their manager after he got them promoted. It's harsh, but that doesn't necessarily mean it was the wrong decision. I think it's crazy how football works in the modern times, man, where you can literally promote a team and then get thrown out like chewed up bubblegum. You can just get spat out and nobody cares, the cutthroat world of the football industry. It's crazy. I think West Brom, it will be interesting to see what happens. Big Sam's never been relegated in his entire Premier League career, so he is the relegation specialist. By that logic alone, West Brom should be fine, but are they really? Are the days gone of Route 1, park the bus football? We all saw what happened with Burnley and Sean Dyche, what's happening with them at the moment. Burnley are just not the same side they were. They're not as solid, they're not as compact, they're not as organized. And it's compounded by the fact that they play this negative branded football, which relies on being compact and being extremely disciplined and being able to hit teams on the break, and they can't even do that much anymore. And so I just wonder if West Brom, if it will be enough for West Brom, But yeah, I don't really have too many strong opinions about West Brom. Aston Villa, they're doing the things, fam. Aston Villa look like they've made a bit of progress. I don't know if that's because everyone below them is so crap, or if because they've genuinely made strides in the right direction by bringing in players like Barkley, the goalkeeper in Martinez, Jack Grealish, managing to keep him on a huge contract. But yeah, moving on, Manchester United beating Leeds 6-2. That's the biggest result of the weekend. One thing I didn't address in my match reaction yesterday, this whole notion that United is in a title race. Manchester United are not in a title race. We are not winning the league title. We are not challenging for the league title. And all you frauds who think Manchester United should sack their manager now and get Poch in so that we can make a title charge, why have you changed your expectations mid-season? Why do United fans, and Arsenal fans do this a lot, ironically enough, Why do we change our expectations of our team mid-season? Everybody said the board didn't back Ole Gunnar Solskjaer in the summer. Everybody said top 4 with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer would be a miracle. Well, we're sat in 3rd in Christmas with a game in hand, above Tottenham, above Chelsea, above Man City, above Southampton, above all these other teams that nobody thought we would beat. Spurs, who piped us 6-1, by the way, were higher than them on the table now. And does that really mean anything? I don't know. We'll just have to see where this goes. But I don't think we're in a title race. I really, really don't. I think we should be focusing on securing top 4, winning the Europa League and winning an FA Cup. Because I think it's an absolute disgrace that some people seem to think that United can genuinely, like everything that has been an issue with United is just magically disappeared. Suddenly we're too good to be in the Europa League. Oh, I'm sorry. Have we not been in the Europa League 4 times in the last 7 years? We've only actually been in the Champions League 3 times since Fergie got sacked. So saying we're too good for the Europa League is like West Brom getting relegated, and then in the season they were in the Championship, we're too good for the Championship. No, you're not, mate. You're in the Championship. You know, fair play, you got promoted, but you're in the relegation zone now. You know what I mean? So I don't get that logic from United fans. I don't get where that arrogance comes from. And I'm not saying people shouldn't want to win a league title. I'm not saying people shouldn't have high standards, but look at the progression and look at the regression of your team. Like, measure these things and then decide where you think your team will finish. Don't just hop on bandwagons because we're playing well at the moment, because we're not winning a league with Harry the Hoover and Victor Lindelof at the wheel. And with Tuanzebe, Bailey, Rojo and Jones always being injured. We don't have a defense. You need a defense to win titles just as much as you need a good attack. We couldn't keep a clean sheet against the worst team in the league. And I'm not talking about Leeds. Calm your tits. I'm talking about Sheffield United. We couldn't keep a clean sheet against Sheffield United. Leeds could have easily scored 5 goals in that game as well. So we're not winning the league. The only parameters Manchester United win the league is if A, we buy a centre-back in January, a premier starting centre-back who's better than everything we've got and complements either Lindelof or Maguire. B, we get a CDM so that we don't have to be bubble wrap FC with 2 CDMs in front of our centre-backs. And C, we actually get a right winger and Ole Gunnar Solskjaer stops being a tinker man and actually picks one consistent formation. But those 3 things aren't going to happen, are they? So we're not winning the league. Or I mean, if you really want to go down that road, Liverpool could also drop off their perch as well. But I don't think that's going to happen because they are going through the most difficult period of their season and they just beat Crystal Palace 7-0. So I don't see it, fam. But you know, maybe I'm just. Maybe I just don't know what I'm talking about. Maybe I'm just being negative and pessimistic. But yeah, I hope you did enjoy that. Please do subscribe to the channel if you are new. And yeah, catch you in the next one. Peace.